Welcome to Inspired Living with Cynthia, your weekly dose of purpose, passion, and perspective. This is the space where real conversations meet real inspiration, where we uncover the tools, stories, and insights that help you live boldly, think clearly, and walk confidently into the life you were created for. So settle in, open your heart, and get ready to be uplifted, challenged, and inspired. This is Inspired Living with Cynthia. This podcast is brought to you by Jarrett Gordon Ford Davenport, your Davenport Ford dealer for new and used sales.
Welcome. We want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Inspired Living. Joining us tonight is a true servant leader. who has spent nearly 3 decades bridging the gap between the worlds of academic excellence and spiritual formation. He serves as the Director of Substance Abuse and Violence Prevention for Polk County Schools, the Prevost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs at Higher Dimension Christian College. But beyond those impressive titles and 2 doctoral degrees, he's known fundamentally as a community pastor, a shepherd who leads with humility, integrity, and a deep commitment to meeting people exactly where they are. This is a powerful story. His journey is one of a living testament to the truth that delayed obedience never cancels divine purpose. Tonight, please welcome to the show pastor, educator, author, and advocate, Dr. Jimmy L. Downing Jr., my nephew. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me tonight. Blessing to be here. Listen to that intro. I wear many hats, but I'm grateful for what God is doing in my life and what He continues to do. And I'm just happy to be here tonight to talk about my new book that just came out, entitled Finding God's Favor um, in Those Seasons When You Feel Forgotten. And the book is pretty much a personal testimony of mine throughout my journey of life.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Listen, we, our engineer, he just said it must be going to be going to be an awesome, awesome interview tonight because we're having such technical difficulties. But we won't be denied. God
That's right.
is good, and we are going to get this done.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about your book.
Okay.
I was very intrigued with the title. Finding Favor is just intriguing to me. So let's talk about it. In a world that often tells us to hustle, grind, focus on doors that we can open ourselves, the concept of favor, it kind of feels like incredibly refreshing to me.
Mm-hmm.
What was the exact moment or personal shift that made you say, I have to sit down and write this book right now?
Well, there were a few seasons in my life where, um, I was trying to get to the next level, whether in vocational or in ministry. And I found myself a lot of times overthinking, overworking, overgrinding, and things of that nature. And, trying for those opportunities to increase for me, for those doors to open for me. But I found out that when I became my authentic self, that the doors began to open. And that was the favor of God that was on my life when I began to be authentic, being the real, what God has called me to be. And when I found that out, I knew that it was His favor. It wasn't about connections. It wasn't about manipulation. It was just about the realization that shifted me, that let me know that it was because of what God had on my life, and I finally realized it, and I decided to walk in it.
Awesome. So the word favor can mean different things to different people. How do you personally define favor in the context of this book? And how is it different from just being lucky or well connected, as you mentioned earlier?
Right. A lot of times we have to differentiate uh, luck and favor because they're two different things. To me, luck is random, but favor is intentional. That's how I look at it. Luck says, I happen to be here, but favor says, God positioned me to be here. And so um, the thing about favor, and I need people to understand this, favor does not mean it's going to be easy, when you think about favor.
That's right.
But what favor does mean is that, He will sustain us in those difficult seasons. When it seems like, the road is rough, when things are tough, if you're favored by God, he'll sustain you and he'll show evidence that he's there with you through it.
Awesome. That's really really powerful. Um, let's talk about overcoming the hurdles. In your writing, you address the things that block us from walking in our purpose. What do you see as the biggest internal barrier people face when they're trying to find or accept favor in their lives?
I think one of the biggest hurdles is, and I believe we see it a lot now, especially with social media and things like that, is comparison. Um, Trying to be someone else instead of being your authentic self. And I use that word authentic because my freshman roommate, Reverend Dr. Reginald Wade Williams, he's a pastor also in Chicago, and he always talks about being your authentic self. And once you learn to be your authentic self, I think that's when you'll understand the favor of God on your life, because you can't compare your journey to somebody else's journey. And because what happens is that comparison can become dangerous, because what it does, it blinds you to those doors that God is really trying to open up for you. So
Right, right.
things like comparison, insecurity can stop some people from seeing it. The fear of failure can stop some, and sometimes it could just be unhealed trauma. And oftentimes, some of that unhealed trauma comes from the church. And church hurt is real.
The
So
real
some of
thing.
that can have a issue with you of finding or seeing the favor that God has on your life.
Right, right. So um, I learned something um, in the first few chapters of the book. I'm not done with it yet.
Right.
I just got it the other day. But um, the calling on your life, you say you felt it early
I did.
in college, I think.
Yes.
And but it was some years later
Hmm.
before you truly accepted your calling.
Yes. Yes, that is true. As most people know, I am a PK. I'm a pastor's son, and yeah, I knew the calling um, in my time there when I was at FAMU. I knew the calling then. I knew it was on my life, but you always hear that thing. Well, you're going to be a preacher just like your dad, and I was like, no, he's the preacher. No, I'm just Jimmy. And so I ran from that calling for several years, but I always knew that um, that calling was on my life. And even in those times then, God was showing favor on my life then, because I didn't answer the call, but he kept me through some really tumultuous times that I had. So he was showing favor on me before I really answered the call on my life. And that was that thing on that comparison thing. I was always being, uh, compared to my dad. You're going to be like him. You're going to preach like him. You're going to do these things like that. But I had to learn to be Jimmy Jr. because I'm not Jimmy Sr.
Right, right.
And so, but I still wanted to continue that legacy. But I found out that I can continue that legacy by being myself.
By being yourself and walking your own path.
Correct.
For sure, for sure. I know my daughter absolutely hated it. Centoria hated it
Hmm.
when people would compare her to me and so forth. And I just always told her, walk your own path,
Right.
do your own thing.
Right.
You don't have to do the things that I did. So,
Right.
but
And that's grateful, because I'm grateful that my dad never put that type of pressure on me. It was the pressure that I put on myself.
right,
You know,
right,
well known in the community. A mentor to many preachers. And I was living. I consider one of the greatest preachers. I grew up in the house with him, so so it was a lot of internal pressure.
right,
I
right.
believe that I put on myself.
Yeah, yeah. All right, the turning point chapter, and if a reader is feeling completely stuck,
Hmm.
overwhelmed, or overlooked um, by life right now, that's where they are in their life. Which chapter or principle in finding favor should they turn to first, and why?
Well, a lot of times you can feel, and this is really the first chapter, um, especially. lesson one, the devotion for number 1 and number 4. A lot of times when you are overwhelmed, um, you can feel hidden. You can feel hidden because you have all of this pressure on you. You have all of these things going on in your life. But I want to encourage them that favor is not always about being uh, visible. It's about being faithful, and that'll preserve you. So when you're faithful to God, He'll show favor on your life, even though you may feel hidden, even though it may feel like your name is not called. And I want to let people know that yes, I have degrees, I have titles and things like that, but the favor of God is not attached to my titles that I have. It's just attached to the faithfulness that I am to God.
Yeah, absolutely. The faithfulness is what a lot of people miss.
Hmm.
They want the favor without the
There
faithfulness.
you go. Absolutely.
And unfortunately, they go hand in hand.
Hmm.
Now, as you said earlier, he will keep you in some times when you are not.
Absolutely.
Because if the favor's on your life, it's on your life.
Hmm.
So all right, let's talk about community impact.
Okay.
Your work often intersects with leadership and lifting others up. How does an individual's favor translate into community impact? How do you use your favor um, when you've been given open doors for the people around you?
Okay, I would say regarding that particular question, when a door is open for you because of God's favor on your life, my belief is that you should open the door for someone else. Pass that along, pass that favor along through you that God has given you, and pay it forward to someone else. Um, I have this thing that healed people help heal people.
Yes.
So when you've gone through some trauma
Yeah.
and God has favored you to get through it, well, it's now your turn to help someone else along the way, pull them up, showing that if God did it for me, He can certainly do it for you. So you have to be compassionate. I believe some of the most compassionate leaders come from places where it feels like they were unseen at one point. And so when they see that it wasn't that, it's not that they were unseen, maybe because people didn't see us, but in all, they see that God saw us. And so when it comes to that, you're able to pass that along because a lot of people, even in the workplace, they feel they do a great job. Their name is never called. They never get a promotion. But you know what? God sees them and what they're doing. In the church, your name may not be called. You may be behind the scenes. But as long as you're faithful to what God has positioned you to do, then you'll see that favor on your life.
Absolutely. So your favor um, is also helping other people, and it
Yes.
translates into that community impact when you open doors for others. So I
Correct.
like that. I like that. Um, for the listeners who may have just tuned in right now, they may be on their commute or at home. What is one practical action step that they can take today to align themselves with the principles of your book on favor?
Well, you said something earlier. Just because you in a delay, and we hear this a lot, it does not mean that you're being denied from anything. And we have to understand being overlooked, when we think about that, it can do two things. It can either break you or it can build you.
Right.
You just have to determine which one is going to be for you because we have to understand God can develop us even in those unseen seasons, even in those seasons when we feel left alone, even in those seasons when we feel overwhelmed. He can develop you. And a lot of times, I believe He does His best work when we're in the dark.
That's right.
Because He is our light. So if we allow Him to continue to be our light in those dark seasons, you'll start to discover, well, you know what? Some season that I were going through was really preparation for what God was developing me to become.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we see the seasons differently, but God has a plan all the time.
Yes.
He has he just has a plan.
Yes.
So share with us what was your favorite chapter or where you felt that you grew the most when you were uh, writing this book?
The last one. The last one when I got it, because the last one is called, Favor to Finish. This journey was a long journey. When I received my doctorate in education in 2020, that's when this journey, it's been that long. I would start, stop. Um, and so many times I didn't think I would ever finish. I would just get frustrated, overwhelmed with things. But, I just decided to listen to him intently. And this entire book pretty much is about my journey, not just in ministry, not just in life, but everything, just my entire journey, because there have been some times when I felt overlooked, unseen. So this is a personal journey. It's it's my journey on paper in a book, and I just believe it'll bless somebody, because I know I'm not the only one who's ever felt that way. Because we can go all the way back to the Bible days where people have felt overlooked. David, felt overlooked by his family. So um, there's people everywhere who have felt overlooked, and they just need to be encouraged, and understand that just because you're overlooked by man, you're not by God. So you continue to uh, do the best you can in your life with what you have, and allow God to move in your life. So that one that stuck out to me the most was favor to finish. And he gave me the favor to finish this, because again, I just, at times I didn't think, it would happen. And God blessed me to finish this book in December of 2025. And even with that, when I was first trying to get it published, I had some setbacks with the first publishing company that I use. I'm like, oh my God, I wrote it, it's done, and now I'm having these setbacks. But thanks be to God, I was able to get with a very, very good publishing company. Shout out to Solid House Publishing in Atlanta, Georgia. So I thank God for them. They made the process simple, and it's really been a blessing to me.
Favor to finish. I like that. Now, see, you're gonna make me skip all the way to the end.
Now you got to read it all.
Listen, I'm on like day 7. I did put 2 or 3 days together. I was like, listen, I'm gonna have to speed this thing up. So, okay, all right. Tell me about any other chapter you think would be impactful to young people right now.
To young people, the hidden part, because a lot of times they feel isolated. They feel isolated from things that are going on. A lot of times, we know parents are busy and things like that. They may feel isolated at home. They may feel isolated at school. Because I've known, dealing with students, I've talked with students, they can feel lonely in a crowded classroom. So sometimes you just feel hidden, and if you feel hidden, if you're not saying a whole lot, then people won't bother you or mess with you or interact with you. But a lot of times you have to understand, sometimes being hidden is not the best thing to be. Sometimes they have to step out of their comfort zone. A lot of times we're so comfortable in our comfort zone that we don't want to be seen. We want to stay behind the scenes. But then we get upset when we're not called on, or when we're not chosen, or we're not selected. So we have to understand that there's some avenues we have to take. Not always want to be in the back. Sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone, so God can really take you or expose you to everyone else, so they can see. A lot of times people don't know the gift that you have in you, because you stay in the background so much. So I that particular first, I believe, seven devotionals would help someone, and it's kind of it grows. It goes to the next level as each day. Yeah.
As it progresses
Right.
along. Yeah. Yeah. So, a lot of people do devotionals differently. They um, there's just different ways that people use their devotionals. What would you suggest is the best way to use your devotional book here?
Well, I would say read it first, and then what I would say is as you read each day, see how that um, narrates with your life, with everything that you're dealing with in life. Because I truly believe there's something in this book for everyone. And so just kind of look at it and see how it aligns with your life, something you may be dealing with, and you can revert back to it. And then there's a scripture with each devotional that you can kind of go and study with it and kind of get a deeper insight of what God is saying through the scripture with the devotional. There's a scripture, there's a prayer, and then there's a devotional. And my ultimate goal is eventually I will start a sermon series from this devotional, and they can just follow along with me, and we'll do a deeper dive into each lesson in the devotional.
Oh, awesome. That sounds really awesome. Is there anything else about the book that you would like to share that I haven't covered before we get into some more laid back questions?
Well, it's not a hard read. It's a pretty simple read. It's pretty straightforward. The devotionals are not very long, and there's a note taking session section in after each devotional, so you can jot down notes. You can, and like I said, go back and reflect on the scripture, and see what you can dig deeper from the words that are on the book, on the pages.
I found myself saying, "Wow, I can relate to
Yeah,
that."
yeah. I hear that a lot when people say, "Well, you know what? I can see myself in the pages of the words that you." And that was my goal. To be honest with you, yes, I want to sell the book, but for me, it wasn't about the financial piece for it. For me, the biggest piece were to impact people's lives. That was the biggest piece for me.
Yeah, yeah. We always we want to make an impact. We want to make a difference, and that's kind of why I'm doing the show. I want to make a
Right.
difference. I want to share stories that can impact people's lives and make them see that there's a journey. There's a there. Everybody has obstacles. Everybody has
Everyone.
journeys.
Yes.
So, okay, well, all right. We are going to transition into just some questions here that really doesn't have anything to do with the book.
Okay. Oh wow. All right.
It's so that people can get to know you a little better. Now I know that your congregation is watching, so if there's there,
Hey y'all.
um, but really it's just to have some fun and have them
Okay.
have everybody get to know you a little bit. All right, what is a small thing that brings you immense joy?
Oh wow. Um, Besides, my family, that's not a small thing, but a small thing for me is those quiet moments. For me, um, that gives me immense joy. It's not um, noisy. It's not chaotic. It's just those quiet moments because my mind is forever running. It's forever, doing something. But in those quiet moments, I can just sit and be still, kind of just listen to the voice of God. So that helps me.
And brings you joy. Okay.
Yes.
And because if you're anything like me, I'm on the next project or
Yes.
thing, recapping or
Yes.
developing the next this or that. But yeah. Okay. Um, the best advice that you've ever received in 5 words or less.
This is the best thing someone ever told me. It was one of my mentors said, "Don't rush your becoming. Don't rush it. Let it happen. Don't rush it because oftentimes if we try to rush who we're trying to become, then we'll a lot of times go off the tracks.
Yeah.
So we don't rush who we're trying to become, or don't rush our becoming of what God is helping us to become.
I like that. I like that. All right, let's fill in the blank. The world needs more.
Compassion. Compassion.
Absolutely.
I would say, yeah, compassion, and also extend more grace to each other. I think, but yeah, compassion and grace.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. What is one thing that you're most grateful for in this exact moment?
God's grace. That is big. Whenever my congregation can tell you, whenever I talk about grace, I say you should be smiling with every tooth you have in your mouth. Even if you don't have none, you still be smiling because of that word grace. Because I know what the grace of God has done for me personally, and I've seen what the grace of God has done to others around me.
Absolutely. Without His grace, but for His grace.
Yes.
All right. What is your favorite scent or sound?
Rain. I know that may sound rain. And it goes a little deeper than just the sound of rain, because to me, rain allows things to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So in those seasons when it feels like it's just raining on your life, those storms, actually I believe that's a time that we're growing. We're growing in grace. We're growing in favor. We're growing. So I believe, that for me, the sound of rain, because I see growth. I look at it a little deeper than just the weather, but yeah, I see growth in it.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I like the sound of water too.
Yeah.
The sound of the ocean.
Yes.
All right. Now, this one kind of gets people in trouble sometimes. What is a belief that you hold about life or favor? I'm going to add favor in there, that many people might disagree with.
Okay. Um, let's just deal with this favor thing for a minute. I believe, or I don't believe that favor makes our life easier. However, I do believe that it makes our life clearer. That's what I would say. And some people will argue, that well, my life is easier since faith, but I believe it brings clarity, because God has a purpose for all of us, and once you can see that clearer, I think it'll allow you to move differently.
Right, right. Clarity. Okay. Clarity. Um, what is one uninspired or totally normal activity you do just for fun?
Netflix. I like to watch Netflix just for fun. Um, that's pretty much what I do. I watch, you know, but I don't like to watch the newer stuff. I watch a lot of the older stuff, like movies back from Karate Kid and things like that,
Oh, okay.
back from my childhood. Watching movies, I would say, and you know, I like the joke. I like to tell right jokes, comedy. Believe it or not, that's what I inspired to be earlier on in my life. I like to be funny.
Oh,
Just natural at it. A lot of people say. So yeah.
Wow, I could totally see you being a comedian. All right. Thank you so much for sharing those with us.
Absolutely.
As we wrap up this incredible conversation, what is one central message that you hope every listener takes away from finding favor today?
I believe one central message I want them to understand that um, the way you find favor is to be faithful to God, the one who gives us favor. So if you're faithful to God, then the favor will find you. So um, continue to be faithful to Him in all that you do, and the favor will find you. This is not something that I read. This is something that I know. I'm actually a living testimony of that. Be faithful to Him, and the favor will find you.
Okay. All right. As I said, I'm not done with the book, but the book is
Right.
dynamic.
Thank you.
And I know our audience is going to want to know where they can get it or how to dive deeper.
Okay.
Where's the absolute best place for our listeners to get their hands on a copy or to connect with you or to learn more about the incredible work that you're doing?
Well, I'm on social media, Facebook, under Jimmy Downing Jr. You can find me there. Message me on my page. I'm an independent distributor right now. I'm not on Amazon or any other platform like that to sell it. Right now, I'm just an independent distributor. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, also on my church page, the New St. Luke. Shout out to the Luke, the New St. Luke Missionary Baptist Church of Dundee, Florida. We are a church that is built on love. So on our church page, you'll find me there. Also on YouTube under Dr. J.L. Downing Jr. Ministries on YouTube. So any of those platforms, you can find me and we'll get the book to you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. As I said, I just got my copy. I'm going through it eagerly and just trying to slow myself down.
Yeah.
I could have read the whole book
Exactly.
over the weekend, but
Exactly.
I'm trying to be disciplined
Right.
and do it as a devotional. So, but absolutely, thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
sharing
having
with
me. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. And so we're looking. We were done the first one. Prayerfully, we'll have our second one out in December. That's a birthday gift that, if the Lord allows, that'll be my birthday present to myself for my next book.
Awesome. That's awesome. So, and then you keep us informed as to when you're going to start that sermon series.
Yes.
So we can follow along with the Finding Favor sermon series.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I didn't tell them the cost is $20. So we accept Cash App, Zelle, Apple Pay, PayPal, of course, cash. So if you would like a copy of it, just get in contact with me or any of my family members on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be sharing it on City Worship Radio as well, so that you can find it on this platform as well.
Thank
so,
you.
And if you have not downloaded our app for City Worship Radio, please download our app. There you can find previous episodes, not just of my podcast, but of all the podcasts that are on City Worship Radio, as well as all the ministries that are on City Worship Radio. Download the app, go to the on-demand section, and you will find, as I said, all of the previous interviews and all the previous shows as well. I know that Pastor Downing is on there. Pastor Downing Sr., let me be specific. Jimmy Sr. is on there as well as myself.
Yes.
So please download the app. We'd love to see you there.
Absolutely.
So it's been a great conversation.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Great evening. Appreciate it. So next month we're going to be talking with some dads about fatherhood being kingdom work. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's kingdom work.
It's definitely kingdom work.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to having some people on that can expound on that for me. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your evening and week. We're signing off.
This podcast was brought to you by Jarrett Gordon Ford Davenport, your Davenport Ford dealer for new and used sales, with 1,868 new and used Fords in stock. Visit us to test drive any of Ford's new vehicles, from the best-selling F-150 truck to the all-electric Mustang Mach-E compact crossover. Ford's latest models offer world-class comfort, cutting-edge infotainment, innovative driver safety aids, and turbocharged power. Jarrett Gordon Ford Davenport. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Inspired Living with Cynthia, your weekly dose of purpose, passion, and perspective. I hope today's conversation encouraged you empowered you, and gave you something meaningful to carry into your week. Remember, inspiration isn't just something you hear, it's something you live. So take what you've learned, apply it with courage, and keep moving toward the life that's calling you. Until next time, reminding you to stay inspired, stay intentional, and stay true to your purpose. Have a blessed and beautiful week.
GyroStream.com